Hello coders, Synthetic Programming here with another video for you guys today. Today we're doing lesson 7 of our Learn Python series, beginner to expert, and today we're talking about for loops. So for loops are a beautiful, beautiful thing in programming that we can use to do many things really quickly. And I'll show you exactly why that's useful. So imagine this. You have a list called numbers. And in the list numbers, you want to put the numbers 1 to 10. You can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like this. Okay, now we want to do 1 through 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to take absolutely forever, and I don't want to do that. So why don't we use a for loop to populate it really quickly, and I'll show you exactly how that works. So this is what for loops used to look like, especially working with lists. For loops used to look like this. You start off with saying for, you use a placeholder variable like I. So for I, in range, and then we can say 0 to 100, do something with I. So what this does, this simple for loop does this. For I in range 0 to 100, print I. And if I pull up the console so you guys can see that, look what happens. Sorry about that. We run that and look at that. So it prints 0 all the way up to 99. And the reason it does that is because in programming, counting starts at 0, you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so 0 to 100 is really actually 0 to 99. If we did this, 101 and 1, if we change it like this, now it's going to be 1 to 100. See, there's 100 at the bottom and there's 1. And it prints all of them. See that on each new line? So that's a really fast way to do things. But this is how for loops used to look. And you can still use them this way, and I use them this way a lot. But there's a new really nice way that you can use for loops. So I'm going to comment this stuff out. In Python, comments are really nice because if you don't want code to run, you can just comment them out. I'll do a multi-line comment for these because we just want to make that a comment so that it doesn't do anything when we run our other code. So here's a cool thing we can do with for loops. So if we want to make that same list we were talking about earlier called numbers, and we want to make it a list with the numbers 0 all the way up to 100. What we can do, instead of writing out 0, 1, 2, 3, if we want to do that, we can just write I for I in range 0 to 101. So what this does now is it says, okay, we want a list called numbers. Here's the list. It's called numbers. We want to fill that list with the numbers from 0 to 101, which really just does 0 to 100. So we put I here. We say we want the list to be full of I for every single I in the range 0 to 101. So now if I print this, if I print the list numbers for you all to see, numbers. So if I print that list numbers, it looks like this. It's the numbers 0 all the way to 100. You see that? And that happened in an instant because we're using for loops to do it for us, so we don't have to actually type in every single number to that list. So here's a cool way that we can do this. We can use this. So let's use numbers 0 to 1000. We'll do 1001. So we'll do 1 to 1001. So this is the numbers 1 through 1000. And if I print this, you'll see here are all the numbers 1 into 1000. And how do we want to use this now? So what I'll do is I'm going to get rid of the print statement. So it's still making this list. It's just going to not show it for us. But that list is still there. And what I can do is this. I'll say for number in numbers. And again, this can be named whatever you want, this variable, but this one is the name of the list. So for every single number in the list numbers, which is 1 all the way to 1001, if number modulus 2 is equal to 0, so if the number is divisible by 2, if it's even, print the number. So I hope that makes sense. For every single number in the numbers, if the number is divisible by 2, print the number. So this is going to print all the even numbers, hopefully. And there we go. As you can see, it starts out from 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way up to 1000. And it prints only the even ones. We can also say, if we switch this, if we say not equal to 0, then print it. And in that case, it'll print out all the odd numbers. It'll start at 1, 3, 7, and go all the way up to 999. So that's a really cool way that we can do things really, really quickly. So again, like I did before, I'm going to comment this stuff out like this. So we have another multi-line comment, just like we had up here. And what we're going to do now for our last example is we're going to use for loops to test items in a list for something. So we're going to make a new list for this. I'll comment this out up here. So that doesn't do anything. So we're going to make a new list, and the new list is going to be called names. And in the list of names, we're going to have 3 names. Actually, let's have 4 names, or 5, because we're crazy. We're going to put a lot of names. So we got Chris, we got Sally, we have Ethel, that's a weird name. We have, how about Naveed, and Carl. Okay, so here we have a bunch of names: Chris, Sally, Ethel, Naveed, and Carl. Now we can say for name in names, so for every name in the list of names, we're going to say if the name, we'll say if name 0, which is if you do name and then brackets like this 0, we're going to go over this when we go over list operations, but we say if name 0, which is just the first letter in the list, so if this first letter in the list is equal to the letter C, like this, then print the name, like that. So now when I run this, it's going to print Chris and Carl, because Chris and Carl both begin with C. Now we can also do this. If the length of name is equal to the number, how many letters is that? 5. If the length of the name is 5 letters long, then print the name. And then it prints Chris, Sally, Ethel, and Naveed, because all of them have 5-letter names, but it doesn't print Carl because Carl has a 4-letter name. So you can see that you can use for loops to test all of the items in a list really fast without having to do each one individually. That would be crazy. If you have a list with, say, 1,000,000 names, this will do it in maybe a second, while if you actually had to write out every single test, it would take absolute ages. So that's a really efficient way to do things in programming, and that's why I am absolutely in love with for loops. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the next video, we're going to talk about a different kind of loop called a while loop, which lets us do something that's not cooler, but just about as cool. And I'm really excited to show you guys that. So you can click here to go see that video, and I will see you guys in the next one, lesson 8. Peace, guys.